I think we are live. Yes. 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 Hey, welcome. Welcome to this live English class. For you English learners, we have a lot to talk about, and I think it's going to be pretty interesting. We're going to focus on some tips that might be useful for you guys, how to improve your English, strategies for doing that. We're going to kind of learn in an opposite, hopefully interesting way. We'll see how it goes. And we're also going to be doing, as we usually do, if you haven't joined these before, then you don't know this, but as we usually do, we'll be doing an English Q&A. So if you have questions about culture, if you have questions about pronunciation, about grammar, about idioms and phrases, whatever it may be, feel free to ask. And I'll do my best to answer. So that's how it works. We'll get into the topics once we have some more people in the class. So it's good to have you guys here, those of you who are already here. If you don't know me, my name is Luke. I am an American English teacher, and I will be your teacher for this class. If you guys haven't already, I would deeply and sincerely appreciate if you could hit the thumbs up or the like button. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, and you can check out my full English courses in the links in the description. Click on the link in the description and you can check those out. Okay, well, I'm going to take a sip of this is my favorite tea. It's actually my favorite tea. Today's sponsor is this tea, which I like. No, it's not today's sponsor, but I do like it. It's called a genmai cha, genmai cha is burned rice. If you've never had it, it's really tasty. It's sort of it's very unique. It's not a normal green tea. When you can smell the difference. There's definitely a rice smell to it. So what you do is you fry rice and burn it basically, and then put that in with green tea. And I'm not sure specifically what type of green tea it is, but anyway, it's made together and then steeped in water, and it has this really interesting kind of smoky, weird, interesting flavor. I said interesting twice, but it's because it's twice as interesting as other types of tea. That's what you call a recovery. That's a recovery. Not bad. All right. Well, Paulson's here. That's good news. Let's see who else is here. Hope you guys have some good questions ready to go today. Let me just quickly double check to make sure that we are live on YouTube. Yes, we are. I see myself drinking some tea. That means it's true. That means we really are. Great. All right, guys. Hello there. Accurate Predictions is here. Nice. And Moo21 is here. I am British. You're British? Get the heck out of here. No, you're welcome to be here. Although I don't know why you would be. This is an English class. Well, I guess you could be British and a non-native English speaker. I guess my question would be, are you a British native English speaker or a British non-native English speaker? Action Music says, hi Luke. Hello. I'm doing just fine. Accurate Predictions. What do you predict, by the way? What kind of predictions do you make? That's what I'm curious about. I'm glad you can hear me clearly. That is good news. Harish says, hey Luke, I want to know some better books to read for improving my English. I think as long as you read things that you enjoy, then you'll be good. I recommend reading nonfiction over fiction because it's generally at an easier level. Not necessarily things like complex psychology, sociology, philosophy, anthropology, those sorts of subjects, but things like self-improvement books, those sorts of topics, things especially that you're interested in, business books, whatever it may be. Interest is key, because if you're not interested in it, you're unlikely to actually do anything about it and give up on it very quickly. That's very likely. So I don't want to say, oh, this is the book you have to read. You know, there isn't really one of those. There isn't really a this is the book you must read sort of book. That's a misleading thing. If someone says that, I think they're being misleading. Instead, follow your interest, find something that's at your level or slightly above, and read that. I can make recommendations if you have specific questions about, oh, you're interested in science, or you're interested in health, or you're interested in self-improvement. I can make specific suggestions. But I wouldn't say that there's there's no magical book out there. Generally speaking, if people are looking to read fiction and they're at a sort of lower to intermediate level, I say just pick up Harry Potter. You know, that's fine. But keep in mind that it's fiction, right? It is a fictional book, and so that's written in a more stylized way. And if you want the more dry, sort of how people normally speak kind of descriptions and phrasing, then maybe go for some simple nonfiction around, well, if you're an accountant, then read something about accounting, or something that you know something about. If it's way too easy, then maybe try again. Choose something different. Eagle Eye Captain is here. I can basically make any kind of global predictions. For example, I predicted Trump was going to become president, and now I'm predicting he is not going to stay president. Okay. I actually agree with both predictions. But, I mean, the stakes are higher for you than they are for me, because I can make those predictions. But my username is not accurate predictions, so the stakes are low. If I'm wrong, and I agree with both of your predictions, I think I predicted both as well, then no one knows. But you are staking your reputation on it by making it your username, right? So the stakes are higher for you, my friend. I'd like to hear some of your other predictions. Ooh, Fatima Books is back with another classic list. I'd be glad to give you some personal predictions. Just give me a test question. All right. What am I going to have for lunch? Haven't had lunch yet. Accurate predictions. What am I going to eat? We'll see. That would be a test question. I got you there. What's the difference between photo picture versus image, guy, man, fool, idiot, phonetics, phonology, sickness, and illness? Okay. Actually, phonology is the study of. Let me just verify that my understanding of that word is correct. My computer is being weird. In fact, I ordered a new computer because I'm sick and tired of dealing with my slightly laggy sometimes internet, or not internet, computer. System of contrast relations among the speech sounds that constitute the fundamental branch of. Yes, I thought so. Okay, I was right. Although I could just say that. All right, 2 months ago, I predicted that the coronavirus is airborne. Now you can hear about it in the news. I'm noticing that most of your predictions are in the past. Pardon me if I'm skeptical. I'm a very skeptical person. Rod says, in the last live stream, I mentioned I had heard Beyonce saying the world algebra, chopping off the R sound in bra. Is that common or only lyrics-wise? Thank you. You mean she said algebra? Bra? Or the ra sound? Algebra. Well, I don't know the word algebra. I don't fully understand your question, but maybe something like waitin'. That is what people say and sometimes even write, although whether it's correct English or not is maybe up for debate. So WAITIN apostrophe would hint that we've shortened the word for the sake of making it sound more speech-like, more casual, less formal. So yeah, that's fairly common. As for lyrics, I mean, I've said many times, I don't think learning English from music is a good idea. In fact, I think it's a terrible idea. And I am very critical of that as a good way to learn, because there are no rules in musical lyrics. You can say whatever you want to say, and it's all serving the purpose of sound, of being cool, of being interesting. Music has its own purpose. Is music good for learning English? I think no. I think it's terrible for learning English. Just my opinion. The predictions about the past is best to nail it. The best way to nail it. Absolutely right. Making predictions about the past is pretty easy. That's right. She says algebra instead of algebra. Okay, I can't speak to that. I have no idea. Haven't heard that before. That's unique. Rod, I have to hear that song. Maybe it's possible that she does, just because she's speaking quickly. Although I would say that's incorrect. It's an incorrect way to say it. But I would also say native English speakers can say whatever they want, right? Beyonce is Beyonce. I would never tell the queen of hip hop what she can and cannot do. I wouldn't dare. If Beyonce told me what to do, I probably would do it. Yes, Beyonce, I will do it. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Don't criticize me. Beyonce, whatever you say, Beyonce. Luke, go outside and stand in the sun for 3 hours. Yes, Beyonce, I will do it. Is there any trick to in order or so that I am not sure to detect differences between them? Trick to in order or so that. Oh, I see. Well, that's a good question. Nice to see you, Amarfi. Can you make videos like Learn English with TV series or movies scenes? That would be fun to watch. Yeah, actually, I have made a few. I want to get back to it. I've done one on Rick and Morty. I've done one on Joe Rogan. I've done one on Jimmy Fallon. So I've done some, but I want to get back to it and do another set of those videos. I'm looking forward to that. You're drinking tea instead of coffee in Oh Dear cup. That's right. That is a good observation. I have a coffee cup here, but it's from yesterday. And, it's dry at the bottom. I don't know. Should I show you? That's pretty gross, right? Normally I wash my dishes every day. I don't leave stuff on my desk. For some reason, I forgot this cup on my desk, and now there's dried coffee at the bottom. Isn't that gross? It's disgusting. I disgust myself. I'm disgusted with myself. So yes, today I'm drinking this tea, which is Japan's #1 tea. Matcha Ganmai-cha unsweetened green tea. Very nice. My friends, says Harish, hate English, and everyone in my surroundings don't let me speak with them. I've got no opportunity to speak English and get to practice them. How can I get rid of this problem? I like the question. Why don't we talk about Harish's question here? Oh, they changed the shape of the thingies. I didn't choose that. Okay. Harish says, my friends hate English, and everyone in my surroundings don't let me speak with them. Too should be either. I've got no opportunity to speak English and get to practice them. Oh, you mean English. How can I get rid of this problem? Okay, I think that this is a common thing. People feel like, okay, I want to practice speaking. I have no opportunities to do it. What can I do? How can I have a speaking partner? Okay, now, there are several options. If you want really to practice English and you want to get feedback on that practice, the best thing to do, and I'm sure you already know this, is to get a teacher. Now, you might say, oh yeah, but a teacher, you have to pay a teacher. Yes, that's right. You also have to pay for food, right? You pay for things that are of value. So if you can find a good teacher and take a lesson a week, is it not worth the investment, potentially, for improving your English? You can find teachers in a lot of different places. One place to find a teacher one-to-one would be something like italki. Now, italki is what it's called. Now, is that really worth it? Well, it depends on how you use it. If you really review after every class and you get good notes and you find a good teacher who can give you really good and accurate feedback, I would say, yes, it's absolutely worth it. You can improve a lot faster with a teacher who's giving you feedback than if you're just speaking with friends randomly. Okay, so that's one option, and I'm sure you know that one already, but a lot of people just discount it immediately. Oh, there's no way. Well, you pay for food, you pay for rent, you paid for your university. Why wouldn't you pay a teacher? It's a thing that's valuable. So I would encourage you guys to consider it. Once a week, once every 2 weeks, find a teacher and get good feedback. Make sure you get a good one. So maybe try a class first, because the difference between good teachers and bad teachers is huge. Now you might say, okay, well, what about friends though? Okay, maybe I can get some friends who like speaking English. That's right. So you say, my friends don't speak English. Well, maybe you need to not get rid of your friends, but add some new friends who have similar interests. Now, I'm not sure where you live, but in most places, there are at least some opportunities that you can get in your area where you might find people who have shared interests. Now, this could take the form of something like a meetup group. Meetup is a pretty cool website. You can find local events. I am involved in meetups. I get involved in meetups all the time. Several times a week, I do meetups online, and we talk about stuff, right? That doesn't mean you're necessarily learning English, but maybe a discussion group, a discussion club. And if there aren't any, make one yourself, and you will attract people who have the same interest, people who want to maybe practice speaking. Start a meetup group in your area, either physically meeting up or online. That could be a great thing to do. And you make new friends who have similar interests. Now, you might be thinking, okay, well, what if I want to make friends with native English speakers who can give me corrections? Good luck with that. Good luck with that, right? Anytime I've had a real friend who's a non-native English speaker, and I have lots of real friends who are non-native English speakers, I've had some bad experiences where people say, oh, by the way, can you, just as we talk, can you just correct me whenever I say something that's wrong? And the answer is no. No, I won't. Because if it's a friendship, then we should both be enjoying ourselves. It shouldn't be that I have to do all this work and try to pay attention to you and correct you, which is the job of a teacher, and you get the benefits of me doing that, right? If this is a friendship, then it should be both of us just enjoying each other's company and having an interesting conversation, right? So I would not encourage you to try to, if you have a native English-speaking friend, ask them to correct you. That's a thing to avoid. If you want to maintain your friendships, just be friends with them, have conversations with them. You know, we all just want to enjoy our friends. We don't want to always be doing work for our friends, right? I've actually lost friends for that reason, because they always kept asking me, can you correct me? Can you correct me? I can, but then it's not really us being friends. I'm sort of just a thing that you're using, right? Doesn't feel good. So there's that, okay? If you can get a group or a community where you have either native English speakers or other English speakers who speak maybe your native language too, who want to practice, that's great too. Meetup groups, things like Startup Grind if you're interested in business. There are lots of opportunities, okay? What about, I can't do any of those things for some reason. I think you can, but you can't for some reason. You feel nervous or you want to practice even more. Well, there are benefits to actually talking with yourself. I know that sounds crazy, but there really are benefits to that. If you give yourself a couple of daily prompts, daily questions, ask yourself a simple question, like maybe you know something about something. What is the difference between maybe you want to be able to explain technical things better. Okay, so you say, what is the difference between a 16-inch MacBook Pro and a 15-inch MacBook Pro in 2019 and 2018? That's a technical question. Or maybe you want to ask more general questions. For example, what do you think about the recent news from the United States regarding statues being torn down in the streets? Say your opinion about that. Record yourself for a couple minutes and then go back and listen to the recording, video or not, and make notes. So, yes, you're not having a conversation there, but you are practicing, even though you're by yourself with your phone, listening back to it, making notes. That is a way to improve. So even if you have nobody, you can still practice by yourself. There's no excuse, really. So find a way to do it. Find a way to push yourself to practice. Whether you're doing that with people who speak your language, who are just interested in speaking, whether you have a teacher who you're paying, whether you have native English-speaking friends who you're sometimes having conversations with, or you're just practicing by yourself. There is a way to do it. There is always a way to do it. And by the way, there are some other platforms out there like HelloTalk where you can find language exchange partners. A lot of people have some difficulty getting the right relationship and balance, but if you can do it, that's great. Develop your relationships and see if you can build out a good situation where at least you have the opportunity to practice speaking once or twice a week. So hopefully that answers your question, Harish. If you guys have any others, leave them in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe, check out my full courses in the links in the description. Okay. Accurate Prediction says, I have an American friend and a British friend. They are my friends because they see value in my friendship. And your predictions, I assume. I try to learn as much as possible, but in a subtle way. Yeah, that's good. Using a person for practicing English is sad than what I'm thinking about. After all, we are learning languages for communication. That's right. That's right. Hi, is there any difference between sorry about and sorry for? Yes. Wow, so many good questions. Guys, where were you in the last live stream? I guess we're doing it at a different time today, so. Speak alone like crazy. Yes, like a crazy person. That's right. That's right. Why didn't you call your channel Luke's English? That's a good question. So Cloud English is actually a company that I started. And I wanted to make it more branded around the company rather than myself, even though I'm the main person. So that's a good question. More of a strategic thing, I guess, for branding purposes. But that was a decision made a long time ago. What was I missed one of your predictions, I think. While I was talking, I feel like I missed one of them. 2 months ago, I predicted that I think I missed another one. I saw it pop up as I was speaking. I predict that 2025 will be the happiest year in my life. Oh, that is depressing. That is really depressing. I hope not. There's a Luke's English podcast, by the way. Well, makes sense that I didn't make Luke's English my brand if there's already a Luke's English out there. Thank God. For me, I'm trying to think English when I can. Think in English. Yes, that's a good way to do it. Having just sort of sitting and thinking through things in English can be really useful. One thing you can do is write down a small outline based on one of those questions and just sort of think through it, right? Well, here's one thing I've been doing recently. So let me share this with you guys. For those of you, all right, let me share something cool. For those of you who are reading, who want to remember what you're reading, I can recommend something that I've recently discovered that I use to help myself remember what I read. I do summaries. Now, I like to listen to books usually on Audible, mostly audiobooks. I do some reading. You can see I have some books back there, but mostly I listen to audiobooks. And I like to combine walking and listening because I can do two things at one time. I can feed two birds with one scone, right? So the problem has always been for me, I want to take notes based on what I read so that I can remember place names and main ideas, whatever it might be, right? How do I take notes as I walk without having to stop and type things out? It's just inconvenient. So I thought, okay, is there a way for me to, without doing anything, continue walking and take notes as I listen? And I have discovered an interesting way. Let me share it with you. Now, this requires a couple of things. Number one, it requires either Siri or the Google Assistant. So you have to have an assistant of some kind. Maybe some other phones have other assistants, but you need an assistant that is able to use shortcuts. I think the Google Assistant and Siri both have shortcuts. Shortcuts means you're able to create, using a voice prompt, some action, some trigger that makes something happen on your phone. The app I use an iPhone. The app in my iPhone is actually called Shortcuts. It might be called Routines in the Google Assistant. I can't remember. But anyway, I think there is one. You can say, when I say this key phrase or this key word, I want this to happen. You set it up, right? Now, the other thing that you need is an app called otter.io, OTTER.io. So what you do with Otter is basically speak, and then Otter writes down what you say. It's voice transcription. Now, there are a lot of voice transcription apps and things out there. There are plenty. The reason I like Otter is that it does punctuation. Most of them don't do punctuation, putting commas and periods in place. Otter.io does transcription, and it's pretty accurate. So, whereas before I had to type everything out when I wanted to take notes, which I ended up not doing, now after I finish a chapter of a book, I will just trigger my assistant and then trigger the shortcut. And the shortcut opens up the recording app and it just starts transcribing what I say, and I just keep walking. I never do anything else. I don't have to pick up my phone, nothing like that. So it's pretty cool. And then when I get home, I can look at it because it's also on my computer. I can look at it. I can maybe clean it up a little bit, correct anything that's wrong, add some links. This is a great way to practice. And it goes to what I've talked about before, which is you want to, even if you're by yourself, practice speaking. But practicing speaking is not only practicing putting words together, it's also putting ideas together and communicating those ideas through words. It is somewhat difficult to organize your thoughts and talk about something right after you've read it. You might use this for books that you're reading to try to express and say a summary of what you've read. You might also do it to answer simple questions. You write down a couple of open-ended discussion questions, and then you open up the app and start speaking. And not only are you practicing your ability to speak and put ideas together, you're also practicing your accuracy, because if something is wrong, you can say, oh, my pronunciation there must not be right because this app is pretty accurate. So you're working on your pronunciation and forming thoughts and speaking. So it's actually great. I love it. Let me give you a quick example. Now, the triggers I use are folder names inside of otter.io based on the book that I'm reading. So I might create one folder name called, I'm reading a book right now that's called The Denial of Death. And so I'll just say denial of death as a trigger, and it'll automatically open it up and start recording. So let me show you what that looks like. Okay, I'll just hold my phone up here. You can see that it is on the home screen, right? Are you ready? So imagine I'm walking. No, I don't walk that fast. I'm walking along in the cemetery. And I say, hey Siri. Oh, right. Hey Siri only works with my headphones. Okay, so let's say I'm going to just click it for Siri. I forgot that I turned it off for this. But I would say, hey Siri, if I have my headphones on. But I don't have them on. So anyway, so I'm going to click this. This one. Denial of death.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Denial of death. The first chapter is about how we repress our fear of death because it is blah, 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 blah. And you can see it's just writing what I say, okay? So that's how it works. It's pretty cool. Now, it's actually smoother when I'm doing it because I'm using headphones. I just say, hey Siri, and then denial of death. And then it opens it up and starts recording. Pretty awesome.
Sorry, I missed that.
It's okay, Siri. You're a loser compared to Google Assistant. I prefer Google Assistant to you. I hope that doesn't make you feel sad. So anyway, guys, I hope that can be useful for you. If not, then don't do it. But it's something to consider, something to try if you're looking for a way to practice speaking by yourself. Let me know how it goes for you in the comments. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you subscribe, and check out my full English courses in the links in the description. Okay, how much time does it take to speak English fluently? Yes. It is that. Well, there's no such thing as a stupid question. However, I would say that it's different for everybody. One thing that is the sort of the dirty secret, the dark secret of language learning is that not all brains are created equally. Not all personalities are suited to learning language. It is my belief that there are some people out there, no matter how hard they work, who will never be able to improve their English. That's something that I'm not supposed to say, but I really think that. Some people, most people can, but there are some people out there who, even if they work for 50 years on it, they'll never improve. I really believe that, and I only believe it because I've seen it happen. And I'm not supposed to say that, but but that is really what I think. However, above that line, people who don't improve at all, there are vastly different degrees of improvement. Some people are like rocket ships. When they start learning, they're just like natural language learners, people with open minds, people who are able to look at things as a child looks at things and absorb language and use it quickly after they've absorbed it. Amazing. This is the natural brain structure. They're very well suited to learning languages. Others, much more slowly, still making progress all the time, but much more slowly. It has to do more than we would like to admit with attitude, personality, genetics, brain structure, right, natural abilities, and other factors that maybe we don't even know. So yeah, it's not just, anybody who learns this amount of knowledge will be this much better by the end in 6 months. Nope. Person 1 is really good at it in 6 months. Person 2 is really good at it in 3 months. Person 3 is kind of good at it in 3 years. Person 4 is still not good at it after 3 years. It's a vast range. So anytime I get that question, hey, how long will it take me to da-da-da? Let's talk for about 10 hours, and I can get to know you, and then I might be able to say. Right? It's a long process of analyzing that. How we repress the fear of death. That sounds like deep psychology. Yes, that's what, yeah. Nectar Sweet says Siri is a loser compared to Google. That's true. Siri is a loser. Siri, you're a loser. You're a loser. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for advice you gave me, and it helped me improve much faster. My idiom learning process. Glad to hear it. Awesome. Well, we're kind of on the topic, so I'm definitely gonna get to Fatima Books' question. Fatima, I hope you're still here. I'm gonna get to some of the other good questions you guys have posted, but there's something I want to talk about first, if you don't mind, because it relates to this question of how we learn, right? So I have something prepared I'd like to discuss. Pop up my overlays here. Oh, hey, what's that? Who? Ha, hey, ha. Not what I want. All right. Sneak peek. That's called a sneak peek. Shh. Shh. Don't tell anybody. This live stream is sponsored by Oi Ocha. Is that how it's pronounced? Oi Ocha. It's not really sponsored by them, but I wish it was. Hey, people from Oi Ocha, get in touch. If you sponsor me, I will drink this every live stream, and I will, after I take a sip, go, ooh, now that's some good tea. Right? I will sell it. I'll sell it. All right. It is good tea. Well, it's good. It's good. Link in the description. No, not really. All right. So, well, if you are interested in not improving your English, for lack of a better way to say it, if your goal is to make sure that you never improve, I would like to teach you how to do that, okay? I'm going to give you some useful tips for making sure that you never get better at English. So pay attention. This might be only for one of you. It might be one person watching this who's thinking, you know, everyone's always talking about tips for getting better at English. What if my goal is to make sure that I never get better at English? This is for you. This is for you, person. I'm going to teach you how. All right? And for the rest of you, well, just do the opposite. Okay? Do the opposite of what I tell you. All right, here we go. So how do you make sure that you never improve? First, number one, spend most of your time learning rather than practicing. Now, I would say this is not necessarily for beginners, right? Beginners need to learn a lot of words and phrases. But once you get up to a sort of lower intermediate middle level, if you really want to make sure you stay the same and don't get much better, make sure that you just keep doing that. Just keep studying words. Keep learning new idioms. Just learn. And do that most of the time, and don't practice much. Now, if you wanted to improve, you would do it the other way. You would stop spending all of your time learning. I'm not saying you want to. I know your goal is to not improve. Okay. I'm just saying if you wanted to improve, you would do the other way. You would learn new words and phrases. You would learn about 20% of the time, 15 or 20% of the time. And then 80% of your time you would spend doing writing exercises or keeping a diary. You would practice filming yourself, making little videos. You would practice speaking exercises. You would have a language partner that you can practice with. You would spend your time working on the language, working on using the language. That would help you get better. That would help you actually improve. Now, don't do that. What you should do, if you don't want to improve, is just keep studying. I know, because it feels really, really comfortable, right? Just keep learning. Word lists, vocabulary lists, idioms lists. Yes, learning. Input. Yes, it feels good. It's easy. I can do it by myself, and after I do it for a whole day, I feel really good. Most people do that. So keep doing that. That is excellent. Also, if you don't want to improve, you want to make sure you don't improve, focus on the why rather than the how. The why rather than the how. Now, what does that mean? If someone gives you a new word or phrase, or you see it in a movie, right? Don't worry about how to use it. Focus on why it means that. Why is this word this word? Why? Why is it said this way instead of the way that it's said in my language? I must know the reason why. Okay? If you don't want to improve, that's what you should do. Because if you know why, well, then that would be interesting. Now, if you asked a native English speaker why, most of them will say, I don't know why. I have no idea why it's that way. It's just that way. Right? But no, if you don't want to improve, I want you to focus on the differences. It should be this way, but it's not. And I need to know the reason. I need to know the historical origin of this idiom. I need to understand why this grammar changed in the past from this to that, whatever it is. Okay? Now, if you wanted to improve, you would do it the other way. If you wanted to really improve, you would just kind of relax and say, all right, well, it's a different language, and every language requires a different way of thinking, right? The verbs are in a different order in German than they are in English, and in Japanese too. You have to think about levels of formality. That's very important for different situations. If you really wanted to improve, instead of focusing on, well, yeah, but why is it that way? You might just say, hey, well, it is that way. Why don't I just pretend like I'm a sponge and absorb it like a baby would learn a language, right? Babies learn languages quickly because they're like sponges. They just absorb it. But your goal is to make sure you don't improve. So don't do that. Don't be a sponge. Don't relax and just say, okay, that's how people say it. I'll say it that way. Don't do that. Make sure you always ask 1,000 questions to make sure that you understand why, so that you can do a presentation on all the whys and none of the hows. Next one, try to be ready before you do something really hard. Always make sure you're completely ready, even if it takes you months. So, for example, if you have been thinking about taking classes with a native English-speaking teacher, some people want to take one-to-one classes. You say to yourself, okay, that's my goal. I'm going to take classes one-to-one, but I don't want that teacher to think I'm stupid. No. I want them to, when they see me in class, say, oh, what a smart person this student is. I'm very impressed by this student. I don't want to look silly in front of them, so let me spend 8 months getting ready, learning a lot, maybe doing some practice, because there's a really hard thing coming up. Classes one-to-one with a native English-speaking teacher, because I don't want them to judge me. So I'm going to get ready. And my 8 months are over. I still need to get ready more. I'm going to spend 4 more months. That's a whole year. It's a whole year. A whole year has passed. I'll do it, but I'm not quite ready. Now, that's what you should do if you don't want to improve. If you want to improve, people who really improve quickly, what they tend to do is just say, you know what? I probably don't know most of the problems I'm going to encounter when I talk with that native English speaker, or whatever the difficult thing is, giving a presentation, doing the IELTS test, whatever it is. I probably don't really know what those challenges are going to be. I can't anticipate them until I do them. You can read as much as you like about swimming before you learn to swim. But until you get in the swimming pool and start swimming, you don't really know what the challenges are going to be. Oh, it feels like this in the water? Oh, this is how I float? Right? You don't know how to anticipate those things until you actually start feeling it, right? So someone who wanted to improve quickly would probably say, yeah, maybe if I took classes with a native English speaker, you know what? I'm going to sign up right now and start tomorrow. I'm going to start tomorrow. I don't care how silly I look. I don't care how ridiculous I look. I'm going to figure out what real difficulties and challenges are there so that I can improve much faster. I'm going to take the path of most resistance, the path of difficulty, rather than the easier path of getting ready for everything. And the people who jump right into it, maybe they do flail around and do silly things at first and look a little not as smart as they would like to look. But you know what? Those people improve faster. But that's not your goal. So slow down, prepare. 2 years, 3 years, maybe even 4 years. Get ready. Get ready for everything that you do. Very, very important. Next one, avoid making mistakes, especially in front of others. You don't want to make mistakes Because if you make mistakes, nobody will care. But you will care. And you will think that they care, even though they don't. So, if you don't want to improve, avoid mistakes at all costs. Stay away from mistakes. Not because other people think you look stupid, because you think other people think you look stupid. Okay? Now, people who want to improve, they don't care. They try to make sure they do things correctly, and they correct themselves when they make mistakes, and they are aware of mistakes. But if they make one, they don't go, "Oh God, how stupid I look." They say to themselves, "Well, I did look a little silly in that situation, but that pressure and slight discomfort I felt when I was at work and tried to say that thing that didn't quite come out right, I really know it now because I saw the reaction other people had, and I saw how it sort of fit into the situation, and now I realize a better way to say it. So I've learned from that mistake. I've learned from that failure." So people who really want to improve, they jump into the swimming pool, they fail fast, they fail hard, they fail as often as possible, while being aware of their mistakes, while trying to always correct mistakes. They're not afraid of failure. Those people improve very quickly. But that's not you. You don't want to improve quickly. You want to make sure that you don't. So my suggestion is try your best not to make any mistakes. And the best way to do that is to avoid doing anything, really. So if you have a chance to talk to someone in English, just don't do it. Don't do it. Because you might make a mistake. You might make a mistake. If you want to write an email, maybe don't send it. Don't send it, because you might make a mistake, right? If you want to chat in a chat group, just text messages. Don't send the chat. Don't participate, because you might make a typo. Yeah. And it's not that other people will care, but it's that you care that other people might care, even though they don't. Okay. Now the last one we're going to talk about is to focus on, this is very important, how bad your English is so that you can shame yourself into working harder. This is really, really important if you want to make sure that you do not improve. Okay? Be negative toward yourself. Right? Instead of saying, I think I can do this. This is challenging, but I think I can succeed. I think that my English is getting better. Because of this, and this. I'm aware of these things. I'm going to focus on the positive. I'm going to focus on the glass half full. I'm not going to be critical of myself all the time. I'm going to develop a sense of confidence about my English, even though it's not perfect. I'm going to walk into a situation and try my best, and I'm going to be aware of the things I did wrong, and also acknowledge the things I did well, and give myself a little toot pat on the back when I do something really well. Don't do that. That's what someone would do if they wanted to improve, to develop a positive way of thinking about their English, to develop a glass half full attitude, to avoid being really negative about themselves. If you don't want to improve, what you should do is be negative about yourself. My English is so bad. It's so terrible. Whenever I talk to others, I say, let me just tell you up front, my English is really bad. So I'm sorry about that. My English is really bad. Have you ever heard of a self-fulfilling prophecy? Attitude matters. If you have a very negative attitude toward your English and about how well you speak, guess what? That's how it will be. If you start to develop a sense of confidence, confidence is so powerful. Confidence can give you the power to do things that you didn't know were possible. And if you become confident, then you're going to walk around and speak with ease, improve more quickly, develop the skills you need to communicate with others, and you're going to start, because you have confidence, using things that you didn't even know you could use that have been maybe learned and down there for years. They start coming up because you feel relaxed. When people are confident, they're relaxed. When they're relaxed, they're at their best. When people are negative and thinking, I'm so terrible, I'm so bad, then what happens? They're tense, they're nervous, they're shy, and the right things don't come out. It's weird, but attitude matters. So make sure make sure, if you don't want to improve, that you remain negative about your English, and always make sure you're critical of yourself. Very, very important. So hopefully, for those of you watching who want to improve, you can get the lessons. But most importantly, for that one person out there who does not want to improve, who really wants to avoid improving, I hope this helps you. Finally something that you can use. If it helps you, make sure you give it a thumbs up, the video. Also, hit the subscribe button so that you can see future videos. And if you haven't already, make sure you check out my full English courses in the links in the description. Not you, person who doesn't want to improve. Those courses are only for people who do want to improve. So don't take those courses. Maybe in the future I'll make a whole course about avoiding improvement. But so far, all of them are unfortunately are useful for English learners. I'm sorry. All right. If you have any questions, leave your questions in the comments. Okay. Hopefully that's clear, guys. Akshi says my grammar is very bad. My grammar is so good. Okay. Fernando says, for example, movies, music. I avoid music. Oxford book is the worst. Yes, are we talking about the Oxford Dictionary? I'm not a fan of the Oxford Dictionary. Not a fan. Most people know that my favorite dictionary is thefreedictionary.com. It is dope. Oh, Oxford Vocabulary book. Okay. I'm not familiar with the Oxford Vocabulary book. Hello, Patricia. Hello. Can you tell me about all the poetic devices like metaphor and irony? All the poetic devices? I don't know if I can just pull that out of my brain suddenly. I might be able to do about half of them, but I don't think I'd do a good job. What is the favorite topic to read about, and what is the favorite book that you advise us to read? If you like technology, what is the best book that you have read on technology? 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 Let me check my book list. Do I have any? Do you have any conversational courses with face-to-face through Zoom? No, I do not teach. I do not teach face-to-face courses, except with some exceptions. I like giving away a one-to-one class as a prize or something like that. I'm thinking about a good way to do like a prize. If people want to have a one-to-one class, but so far no. Let's see. Technology books. What? Technology, huh? Technology. Don't read a lot of technology books. I do read mostly nonfiction, though. I mean, science books. I read a lot of science-related books, but not so much technology. Well, let me suggest a book on science that you can read, which is, I think, a good one. How about... Oh, you know what's good? A book that I really enjoyed on science is The Selfish Gene. That was a good one by Richard Dawkins. It's called The Selfish Gene. I haven't read it in a long, long time, but I did enjoy this one. Oh, you can't even see it. It's The Selfish Gene by Richard Dawkins, and it's an amazing read. Read by the author, in fact, and he's got a nice voice, nice British voice. Yeah. I don't know. A technology book. I don't know. Okay. Well, let me get to some of the other questions. I keep fingers crossed for one-to-one lessons then. What would be something worth waiting? That would be something worth waiting for. Yes, The Selfish Gene is what it's called. The Selfish Gene. Often misunderstood to mean that our genes make us selfish, but that's not what it's about. It's about how well, you can read it, but it's kind of a misunderstanding of the main idea. Yeah, it's a good one. I've read, I think, all of Dawkins's books, and while I don't agree with his whole worldview, I think his books are really good. I've enjoyed reading all of them, and he reads pretty much all of them. So, do you recommend any app? That's a pretty broad question. Yes, there's a great app called YouTube, which I would recommend. You can watch videos there. It's dope. What's the best English grammar book? I don't know any English grammar books I can recommend. Maybe it's best to learn grammar other ways. We need to fight against the selfish gene. Again, I'm not quite sure that's what that means. That's not quite the message of the book. It's an often misunderstood title. Very controversial title. Not quite the point. It actually has a much more positive meaning than you would expect. Some books said we help each other to preserve genes. That is indeed true. That is indeed true. Okay, I want to get to Fatima's question for sure. Let me think about this though for a second. One thing I need to search here. Sorry, guys. I know I'm being just silent, staring at my computer. Give me a second, all right? Okay. Fatima books. Here's Fatima's question. Actually, you know what? I'm not sure about this one. There's one that I'm not quite sure about. Yeah. Okay, well, let's just try. With Fatima's questions, I'm usually just trying to get my basic point across. Okay, so Fatima Books, in her classic style, asks, what's the difference between photo, picture, image, guy, man, fool, idiot, phonetics, phonology, and sickness versus illness? These are tough ones. These are hard. All right. So let's try photo versus picture versus image. Okay? Now, a photo is something that is specifically taken, short for photograph, right? Specifically taken with a camera. Okay? It can be a digital camera on a computer or a physical camera. So the thing that we have is a photograph. We shorten that to photo. Okay? So a painting made with paint or a picture designed on a computer wouldn't be a photo, would it? A photo is a thing that captures an image. We'll get to image in a second. With the light that it produces and turns that into something that you can display on a screen or on a piece of paper, right? That's the photo. Now, the image is something that's more abstract. You're capturing the image. The image is that still moment in time, whether it's a real thing or not. So image is more abstract, is broader, right? You could have an image that's a painting. You could have an image of something completely abstract. You can't even tell what it is, right? The image on the screen, I don't know what the heck it is. It looks like a pasta mixed with a galaxy. What the heck is that? It's usually a moment in time or out of time. More abstractly, a scene of some kind, a character of some kind, taken out and put or displayed somewhere. And that does not have to be a photo. Okay? So when I said capturing an image and the light that it produces for a photo, I'm kind of talking about the image being that moment in time and those people, that family there in front of their fireplace, and the photo being the form of the image. Whereas if I were to draw on a pencil, on a piece of paper with a pencil, a family in front of a fireplace, then that would be an image that has been drawn, a sketched image. Still an image, but it's not a photo. It's still an image, but it's not a photo. Now, photograph can be used as a verb, to photograph someone. We usually don't say to photo someone. We usually say to take a picture, to take a picture. So that's how picture is often used. When we're talking about photos, we often, instead of saying photos, we say picture. We say take a picture, or we say look at a picture, or we say share a picture, and we often especially use that for the digital format, sending things online, social media. Oh, you liked that picture. Now you could say you liked that picture, you liked that photo. Both are okay. We probably wouldn't say to like an image on social media. Maybe not so much. Now, photograph can be a verb by itself. Can picture be a verb by itself? Picture can be a verb by itself, but picture as a verb by itself doesn't mean that. To picture something is to create it in your imagination. Picture a wolf standing next to a large pink elephant wearing green glasses, both staring up at the moon. Can you picture it? Can you picture it? I'm picturing it. Okay, so you're holding that in your mind. You're putting that in your imagination. Okay? The wolf is smoking a cigarette with its nose. 2 cigarettes, one in each nostril. Oh, see, you can picture it, right? It's sort of like imagine there, okay? So that's how it's used as a verb. It's also more general than photo. They're not exactly the same, but they can be used in the same way. For example, on social media, to like a photo, to like a picture. Now, what about guy versus man? This is a very interesting one. When we say man, we're kind of focusing on the gender and age group of a human, right? If someone says, there is a man over there, we're talking about a male. We're talking about someone who's considered to be an adult. That might be, for example, over the age of 18. And we're talking about someone who appears that way. Not only is that way, but appears that way, right? So we say, there's a man standing next to the phone booth. There's a man standing next to the phone booth. Okay. People say, I am a man. But when people say man, they also sometimes mean the social meaning of man. What does it mean to be a man? You have to earn money for your family. I don't know why I'm making this sarcastic face. You have to earn money for your family. What does a man do? A man doesn't wash the dishes. A man works at a job from 9 a.m. to 5 o'clock and smokes a cigar with a glass of whiskey at night and is tough with his kids. I don't know. These are some, and is strong and willing to chop down trees when necessary. I'm sorry. I'm just running out of silly stereotype descriptors for man. Anyway, that's the idea, is the sort of social context meaning, whereas we wouldn't use guy for that. So yes, that person over there is a man, an adult male, but also, what is a man? What does it take to be a man? And you hear fathers say to their sons, be a man, you can do it, right? If the 10-year-old boy is crying after he gets hurt, he said, be a man, be a man. Well, hopefully he wouldn't hit him like that, but Whatever. You get the idea. To sort of encourage him to be more like an adult. Tough, right? If you're a real man, then you're tough. You're strong. You have a masculine way about you. Okay. Now, guy could be used in the same way as we talked about with the telephone booth. Whereas I could say there's a guy standing next to the telephone booth. That's okay too. But the emphasis is different. Now, if I say there's a guy standing next to the telephone booth, I also mean a male, an adult male, generally. Looks like an adult male, probably is an adult male. That guy over there. But we're not using it for that sort of social norms aspect component. Does that make sense? I know you can't answer, but answer in your mind, and I'll try to just feel it. Yes, it does. Okay, good. Now, a lot of people recently use guy in the plural form to talk about or talk with their friends. Okay, so someone might say, do you guys want to go? Right? Hey guys, are you ready to go? Hey guys, what time do you want to eat? Now usually we're going to say this with friends, people that we know, as an announcement, as a request to begin it. But the interesting thing about this is when we say it now, we can use it for boys or girls or all girls. A guy might say to his guy friends, and when I say a guy, I mean a male. If you use it for one, say a guy, then it has to be a boy. Has to be a man. Must be. But if I say, hey guys, no longer. Now we're talking about a group of all girls, all guys, or girls and guys. Girls, guys, and cats, monkeys, whatever it is, right? Hey guys, are you ready? The guy said, hey guys, are you ready? Means a male said, or a man said to his friends, you people, I want to know if you're ready or not. A girl said, hey guys, are you ready? Now, could she be talking to all female friends? The answer is yes. Now, this is an American thing, generally speaking. So just to be clear, not everyone says this, although many countries around the world have adopted this kind of expression. So if a girl says, hey guys, are you ready? She could be saying to 6 girls, hey you ladies, are you ready? Okay? What about fool versus idiot? Now, these are often used in the same way. A fool is someone who usually behaves in a silly way. Silly way? My voice is breaking. Who behaves in a silly or irresponsible or dumb way, an unintelligent way. And an idiot is someone who also maybe has unintelligent behavior, immature behavior, right? Now, they have a different origin, even though they can be used in the same situations sometimes. Fool was often used in the past to mean a person who almost had that as their job to entertain the king, the palace fool, right? Or the court fool would be someone who did that to entertain everybody for the purposes of entertainment. Now we say you're a fool to mean your behavior is unintelligent or your behavior is poor judgment or represents poor judgment, or you are stupid in the way that you're behaving. Now, it could be temporary. Doesn't mean this person is forever that way, right? It just means maybe this thing that you're doing is that way. However, I have to say, it's not used so much anymore in that way, but we do say it quite often as an adjective. Foolish behavior. Don't be foolish. Don't be foolish. Okay, so it's very common as an adjective, not as common as a noun. Now, what about idiot? Idiot is used most as a noun to mean kind of the same thing, not intelligent, bad behavior, well, not bad, dumb behavior, irresponsible behavior, representing poor judgment, right? So we would say, what an idiot, what an idiot. It feels stronger than saying what a fool. And it is much more common to say, what an idiot. You really want to put a lot of emphasis or stress on how dumb this behavior is. Again, it doesn't mean that this person is necessarily that way all the time. It could be just at this moment, in this time, this situation. Although sometimes it can be. If you say, oh, him? Yeah, he's an idiot, right? Would we say he's a fool? Not nearly as common as saying he's an idiot. Is it nice to say that? Of course not. Of course it's not nice. It's kind of mean, but people do often say it. Hopefully not about me. What is the next one? Phonetics and phonology. Now, actually, phonology is something I've barely heard before in my life. This is just the branch of linguistics. Linguistics is the study of languages. One of those branches is about focusing on the differences between sounds, how the sounds are made. This whole branch is called phonology. The specific activity of looking at the sounds, of understanding the different sounds of languages, looking at phonemes, the specific part of that is called phonetics. And when we're just talking about the different sounds, we say, understand the phonetic, for example, phonetic symbols. Or how do I write this phonetically? So we often use the word phonetically, phonetics, and phonetic, and it's pretty common. But phonology is not very common. Both of them are about the sounds of words. One is more like the whole branch of the whole study of languages, and the other is more about the actual exercise, practice, and activity of it. That's my understanding of it. Okay, what about sickness and illness? Okay, can we say, I'm sick, I'm ill? I'm sick, I'm ill. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Now, while they're used often in the same situation, they might have a different connotation, and they might be used in some other different situations too. Okay, so for example, I might say, you're sick, to mean that you have a perverted, dirty mind and you say things that are horrifying or gross or sexually explicit, right? Oh, you're so sick. This is someone who you think has something psychologically wrong with them, right? So you can say mental illness. Mental illness might be a serious problem with the mind, psychosis or schizophrenia or bipolar disease or whatever it may be. But when people want to be critical of someone, they won't say you're ill. They'll say you're sick, sick in the mind, right? But that isn't necessarily about them actually being that way. It's just my opinion of you saying horrible things that disgust me. You're sick. You're so sick, right? Now, when we call in for work to say that we can't go to work, we say, I'm sick, I'm calling in sick. That's the common way to say it, right? So usually if we use the word sickness, a sickness, we're using it more abstractly and broadly. And if we use it as an adjective, then we say sick means maybe I have the flu or I have a cold or whatever it is. I'm sick, I can't come into work, right? But a sickness is more like the mind thing, or a sickness in the culture, or a sickness in maybe an institution. Sometimes this word is used broadly to describe not just a physical problem that a person has, but something a little bit bigger, a little bit more abstract. Whereas if we use the word illness, generally as soon as people hear the word illness, we know we're talking about probably a person. And while we can say, I was ill this week, that's totally fine as an adjective. These two are used pretty much exactly the same way. I'm sick, I'm ill, I'm sick, I'm ill, right? I would say sick is more common. And illness, when people hear an illness, they're going to automatically think that it's maybe chronic, long-term, or very serious. Chronic means it's not just a one-day thing, right? Sick suggests often, I'm sick suggests more, I have a cold, I have the flu, it'll be over soon. I'm ill, or I have an illness. If someone says I have an illness, people are not thinking, oh, this week? No. If you say I have an illness, then people are going to think, okay, this is a very serious thing. Maybe it's something you've had for many years and you will have long into the future, right? We say diabetes is an illness, not a sickness. We use illness for that, not a sickness, right? Heart disease is a certain kind of illness, not a sickness. We use an illness. These long-term, chronic things that we may recover from them, but may be permanent, or at least are chronic in some way, or very, very serious in nature, then the word illness is commonly used and not sickness. Because if I say just sickness, people say, well, what kind of sickness? Because you can use it much more abstractly. Okay, hopefully that's clear. Now, there is one more thing I forgot to mention. Fool can be used as a verb. To fool someone is to trick them. Right? Fooled you. You made them think one thing, and then they realized that, and then suddenly they think something else, you reveal the thing that you didn't show them before. You fooled them. You tricked them. So it can be used as a verb as well. Hopefully, all of those are clear. I did my best. These are tough ones. Keep them coming, Fatima Books. If you guys have any questions, make sure you leave them in the comments. Hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe so that you can see future videos. And don't forget to check out my full English courses in the links in the description. All right. Okay. Sorry for the long answer, but it's a complex question. All right. 2 months ago, I predicted. Scroll down. Going all the way down. Okay. Your name is weird. That's not a very nice thing to say. People's names are people's names. My name is Luke Pretty. That's a weird name too, technically. Saying someone's name is weird if you don't know them is a bit odd. I predict that doing such things will cause interpersonal problems. Luke, will you please pronounce my name? I am very excited to hear my name from your very American way. Hem Chupka. That's probably wrong. Maybe the H is silent. M Chupka? M Chupka. Maybe it's Kupka. I don't know. Spell it phonetically for me. Everyone has a weird name, technically. Fool can be used in verb form, and idiot is usually used in noun. That's right. Did I say that? I hope I said that. I should have said it. I hope I said it. If I didn't say it, I should have said it. Okay. I need a drink. Of tea, of course. Don't drink alcohol during a live stream, although that might be interesting. That is not a bad idea. All right, just scrolling through some of the questions I might have missed. Sure, friends on the same wavelength. Paulson says, you forgot to hit the like button. Yes, don't forget to hit the like button. My God. Paulson is right. The pain. The pain. If you don't hit the like button, 1,000 cute kittens will be hungry tonight. And that's the saddest thing I can imagine. Hi, is there any difference between sorry about and sorry for? For example, I'm sorry for losing your book. I'm sorry about losing your book. That's a good question. Yeah. Okay, I think I can answer this without making a fool of myself. Hi, is there any difference between sorry about? Oh, Eric Rivas 5, Roman numeral 5 says, hi, is there any difference between sorry about and sorry for? For example, I'm sorry for losing your book. I'm sorry about losing your book. This is actually a great question. I like this question a lot. Now, in the examples provided, they're used in the same way. This is a common thing we see with spoken English. There's overlap, meaning that in some situations they cover like that, and they're shared, and you can use either one. In others, it doesn't work, right? So, when we say sorry about, we can say sorry about plus ing, right? And then say the thing that we're sorry about. For example, I'm sorry about losing your book. If we say I'm sorry for, then we kind of have to say about, or sorry, excuse me, then we say, ing, usually. Okay? Let's look at some examples for how we might do this. And I'm going to pop over here, if that's okay, and type a little bit just to see if we can come up with a couple to make this really clear. Okay? Sorry about, that. Okay, and then sorry for that. I know it's a little slow. Don't worry, guys. New computer on the way. Okay, so if we say sorry about that, sorry for that, do both of these sound natural? Not really. We would probably say sorry about that, but we probably wouldn't say sorry for that. Usually not. Some people might say it, but usually we wouldn't say it like this. Instead, when we want to use for, we'll use an ing. Now you can use about with an ing or for with an ing. Sorry about cutting in front of you in line. Sorry for cutting in front of you in line. Those are both fine, right? But if we want to say that, which is not an ing, it's just the thing, then it works with about, but doesn't sound very natural with for, right? So if we say sorry for the, let's just say one word. Sorry for, or sorry about. Let me do both examples. Let me start with this one. Sorry about the delay. Sorry for the delay. Now, while both of these are okay, when I hear them, right? For works pretty well. About sounds okay, but I would probably use for here, okay? If we say being delayed or being something, then it might be better for us to use sorry for being delayed, right? Sorry about being delayed sounds awkward. Being, if we use being. So it kind of depends on which thing comes after about or for, to which one sounds normal, right? What about this? Sorry for yesterday. What about this one? Sorry about yesterday. Sorry about yesterday. Now for this one, sorry for yesterday sounds strange. Sorry for yesterday. I mean, again, some people will use it, but it sounds a bit awkward. Sorry about yesterday is much more common. A direct noun after about sounds more natural. So if we have the in front of it, it might be better to use for, but for this one, using about just sounds better. It sounds better. I've heard people use both, so it is okay, but you have to just listen case by case for which ones sound natural, which ones people are using, and then sort of go with that. And that should at least help guide you or give you a sense for it. Hopefully that answers your question. Guys, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you subscribe, and don't forget to check out my full courses in the links in the description. And I'm seeing some huge delays. It's so frustrating when my computer is behaving slowly. It drives me crazy. Sometimes if I'm recording something and I want to do something else as it's recording, it takes up so much RAM that it clogs my entire computer, and the temperature increases. It's crazy. And so I have ordered a new computer. It is on the way, and I can't wait for it to come. Okay, I have a native English speaking friend and motivates me to learn. I never think of using them to teach me. GB Plus, that's awesome. The summaries are the best way to remember and is a good way to practice. I'm just going through the older comments here. I've been learning English mostly 10 years, but I can't speak it well still. My question is how to get better soon to speak. I think we went over that earlier on, right? It's to just get started with practice exercises all the time. And also finding a community. Start a meetup group. Don't be afraid. Just do it. Jump in. Jump into it. Accurate prediction says he has such a large family that he cannot keep tabs on everyone. Hey, that's a good example. Nice. Nice one. Perfect. Don't give yourself a pat on the back. It looks silly. This looks silly, right? Yeah, don't do it in a mirror either. I shouldn't do it in a live stream. Absolutely. What do you think? I'm gonna A Practical English Grammar, GB Plus, by Thompson and Martinet was like a Bible of English in my high school times. Okay, so GB Plus likes this one. GB Plus likes this one. That's cool. Nectar Sweet says, I like to read English books, but I feel bored when I study English books, especially grammar. Yep, I do too. English grammar is boring. I bought English Grammar in Use, and I think it's good, even though I haven't finished it yet. Okay. Why are American movies difficult to understand? Because there are a lot of idioms, local references, and expressions you're not familiar with. Okay. Extra Sweet says, be a man. Yeah, absolutely. Accurate Prediction says, Luke, you're bending over backwards to explain these tough differences. Appreciate it. Yeah, I did feel like that. That's a good usage of bending over backward. You can see the Accurate Prediction is using some really nice usage of common expressions. So far, everyone has been totally correct. Excellent usage. Where are you learning this stuff, huh? Where are you learning it? I'm watching Zoo in Netflix, completely in English with subtitles in English, and there's a lot of words or phrases I can't get. Common problem. Common problem. Not the best way to practice listening, to watch a long show. Best way to practice listening is a more focused approach, which you can, if you go to the Clips channel, you can check out that video. We did it in one of the previous ones. Fernando, did you watch it for free? Uh-oh, we're giving out free recommendations. I have, Netflix. Yeah, I think Netflix is about $13. I'm sick and tired of learning English, as an example. That's also correct. Okay, I'm just scrolling through these here. Luke, will you please pronounce my name? I've caught up. All right, I've caught up. Hip, hip, hooray. Nectar Sweet says, I think sorry for is usually used more directly, like the delay. Yes, that's right. And sorry about is used for broader meanings, like yesterday. Yeah. Sorry about that thing that happened yesterday, generally speaking. Yeah. Okay. Because of the background, suddenly it seems like science live class. I'm not going to use the writing anymore because as soon as I open it up, it slows everything down. So once I get the new computer, then maybe I can do the examples by writing. But so frustrating. Hem says, you are absolutely correct. First you pronounced. Okay. I said hem chupka, right? All right. Have I missed any questions? Your computer behaves like me in English, says Fernando. Makes me feel frustrated. That's funny. That is, I have to admit, that is very funny. I like that. Please, could you use also and to in a single sentence. Also, if you tell us how to use to. Could you use also and to in a single sentence? Yeah, you could. You could. If you have two totally separate clauses, then you could. So, for example, if we want to make a list, then we might say something like, okay, so Jeet says, please, Luke, could we talk about also and to in a single sentence? Or could we use, please, Luke, could we use also and to in the single sentence? In a single sentence. Huh? Oh, please, Luke, could we use also and to in a single sentence? Also, if so, tell us how to use it. Okay. Now, what does also and to mean, right? We use it in different ways. It's important to note that we can use to say things like too much and too many. So that would be very easy, right? If we want to use to and also in the same sentence, also doesn't fit in those kinds of situations, right? We can't say also much. What does that mean, right? I have too many banjos. Doing, 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 doing is a kind of guitar. Also, someone says, I have this is so dumb. Why do I make such dumb examples? I have too many banjos. It's suddenly sinking in how dumb my example is. Why is my first instinct to make such dumb, outrageous examples? Person number 1 has 39 banjos. And they say, and they're depressed about it. They have many banjos, but they don't like that they have many banjos. And so they say, I have too many banjos. How many do you have? I have 39 banjos. And you think that's too many? Yes, it's too many. I also. Somehow, in this whole wide universe, these two people got together, and both of them have the same problem. Too many banjos. So, we could say, I also have too many banjos. How many do you have? I have 57 banjos. Whoa! We both have too many banjos. Now, when I say I also, that is like me too. And then too many banjos is the amount of banjos I have is not a good number. It's more than what is good. That's what to means in that context. Okay. I think the heart of Jeet's question is more, can I use to and also in the same sentence when they have essentially the same meaning? The meaning of also, right? I am the same as you, right? You could do it if you were adding things in a list, right? If the conversation before was me talking about one thing that we like to do, rock climbing. Me and my friend, we like to do rock climbing. Okay? Then I could say, if I want to add to that, also, we enjoy golfing on weekends, comma. And we like going for drives once in a while, too. So there we put them in the same sentence. We have one sentence, but two distinct clauses. And we're adding things in a list. We've already talked about hiking or mountain climbing. Then, in addition to golf, in addition to that, to driving sometimes, right? So also, we like going golfing on weekends, and we like going out for a drive sometimes, too. Both of those work, even though it's one sentence, but they're two separate clauses. Now, if the question here is, can I put also and to in the sentence about the same thing? Right? Like, I also like to eat ice cream too. I also like to eat ice cream too. Then the answer is no. Because there, the function of also is to say about eating ice cream, I'm the same as you. I love ice cream. I also love ice cream. A slightly weird conversation, right? I have a banjo. I also have a banjo. Means I am the same as you, right? Or I could say just me too, meaning I also have a banjo. Or I could say I have a banjo too, and that means I am the same as you. But what I can't say is I also have a banjo too. No, that doesn't work. So if you want to put them in the sort of list style or put them in separate clauses and they're about different things, then yes, it should work if you use it correctly. If you want to say to, as in excessive, more than what is good, it also works. I have too many banjos. I also have too many banjos. If you want to say about the same thing, also and to together, with the same meaning, also and to, meaning both of us are the same, then the answer is nope. So hopefully that answers your question, Jeet. It's a good question, actually. I think a lot of people mix that up. I hear often people using both of these words in the same sentence used in the same way about the same thing. That's problematic. That is what we want to avoid. So, great question. Guys, if you haven't already, make sure that you hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe so that you can see future videos, and check out my full courses in the links in the description. And if you guys are missing live streams ever and you want to see future questions answered, you can go to the Cloud English main YouTube page, look on the right side, click on English Lessons by Cloud English, and then subscribe to that channel where there's a new video every day, which is basically just questions answered from live streams in case you missed one. And a lot of people asked me to do that, so I finally did. It's banjos. Yes, banjos. What is the difference between gender and genre? In pronunciation, I assume. Gender is a J sound. J. Gender. Der is a hard D. Gender. And then genre is not a J sound. It's a J sound. Genre. Gender, genre. The ball's in your court. What is the actual meaning of this? Okay. Yeah, well, accurate predictions is right. It means the next move is yours. That's right. What would be a good example of that one? Well, I guess you could use a negative one. Why is every example I think of automatically negative? What's wrong with me? I feel like I want to use banjos again. Okay, so let's say Harish says, the ball's in your court. What is the actual meaning of this? The actual meaning of this is that I'm now putting you in a situation where you need to be the one to decide what happens next. The next action is your action, right? The next thing that has to be done by you. And that could be a simple action, but is usually related to making big decisions, right? Now, you could use it for things like a proposal. One person makes a proposal. This is my idea, right? This is how much it's going to cost, right? I want to invest in this project. Here's how I think we should do the project. It's going to cost this much. I tell this to my boss, right? And then it's up to my boss, now that he has all the information, or she has all the information, to decide whether or not we're actually going to do it. And so at lunch, then later someone says, hey, how'd the proposal go? Well, I explained everything. I gave a presentation. I talked about how much it's going to cost. I went through all the details. At least I'm done with it. Now the ball is in her court, or the ball is in his court. The decision maker's court. I think it comes from tennis, right? When it comes into your side, you have to be the one to hit the ball back. You're the one to take the next action to return it. So it says nothing about the actual decision, right? But focuses on the fact that at least now it's kind of out of my hands. I'm done with it. I've done my part, which is making the proposal, coming up with all the slides, and coming up with the idea. Now you decide if we do it or we don't do it. The ball is in his court. The ball is in her court. The ball's in your court. So sometimes we use this when we want to kind of pressure or push a decision to make sure everyone's on the same page. Just want to make sure that you know that you need to be the next one to act, and it's not me. Right? Now, would we use this for very simple things? A major proposal with a large budget, deciding whether or not we go or no go, right? That's a big one. So we can definitely use that for that kind of situation. What about, shall we eat lunch at Subway or Chipotle? I don't know, the ball's in your court. Some people might say that, maybe, but they might say it a little bit sarcastically, almost to say, this is a big decision, but it's actually not a huge decision. I mean, it's lunch, right? Who gets that upset about lunch? Well, I do. I had a video about that, but basically, that's a simple thing, an everyday thing. It's not nearly as often used for everyday things. What about something like a couple having major relationship problems? They're on the verge of a breakup or a divorce. And one person says, well, I am willing to separate without a long legal process, because maybe that's what's best for our relationship long term. Well, we've got kids, right? What about the kids? If they always see us fighting, this is a common thing, right? We don't want them to always see us fighting. They would probably prefer if we're both happy separately, right? So I'm willing to go through that, but I would like to do it in a way that doesn't have a long legal process. We just sign the papers and we're done. All right. That's what I'm willing to do. You need to decide if you feel the same way. So I say, if that's how you feel, then you get the paperwork and you sign the paperwork, and I'll sign the paperwork. I'm telling you what my intention is. The ball is in your court. The next move has to be on you, right? Your action is next. I've told you what I'm going to do, what I'm willing to do, what my suggestion is. Now I'm hitting the ball over to you. Now you have to not hit the ball, let it go past, hit the ball back. Whatever you're going to do, do it. So it has nothing to do with the actual action that needs to be taken, but it's just that a decision or an action needs to be taken. And most often it's related to decisions about big actions, major actions. Hopefully that's clear. Harish, it's a good question. It's a very good question. If you guys have any other questions, make sure you leave them in the comments. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, so that you can see future videos. Check out my full courses in the links in the description. Okay. Nectar Sweet says, in my opinion, idioms are more difficult thing than grammar or vocab. Okay. Okay, maybe. Maybe so. Why do you want to know the meaning if you don't have any practical sentences? I don't know the meaning of this PHV. I don't know the meaning of PHV either, sir. So sorry. I don't know the meaning. Okay, have I missed any questions, guys and gals? Guess not. All right. Well, friends and neighbors, I think it's time for us to call it a day. I appreciate you guys for joining. There's a weird sound that just came out of my throat. I don't know where that came from. Stop it. Stop it, body. Stop making weird noises. Now my stomach is making a grumbling noise. A hungry noise. Brrr, feed me. I haven't eaten yet. So, I appreciate you guys for joining. I appreciate all the great questions. This might be a great time to do live streams. Seems like so many people active at this time. So many great questions. If I missed any of your questions, I apologize. Try to ask them next time. In the next live class, I'm going to try to do one tomorrow. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do one tomorrow. Accurate predictions. Am I going to do one tomorrow or not? Because you should know. Am I or not? And I don't mean to be teasing you about the name. I just think it's cool. It's cool that you make predictions. I think it's cool. All of your, by the way, the idioms that you used today are correct. Nice job on those. Awesome stuff. And I'm glad to hear that I made your day. That makes my day. Bye, Jeet. What about make a learning English with big mouth? Oh, yes. That's a good idea. Yeah, a lot of good shows I can use. Guys, make a list of shows that I can talk about. I haven't really done a lot of research about it. I've been thinking about doing Adventure Time. Yeah. All right, guys. See you next time. Have a good one. See you tomorrow. Stay safe. Be careful. Don't forget to brush your teeth before you go to bed. What else? Yeah. Drink lots of water. Very healthy. Wear a mask when you go out. And make sure you wash your hands when you get home. Very important. Very important. All right, guys. See you later. Have a good one. Don't forget to hit the like button if you haven't already. Just hit it. Why not? And check out the courses. They are 20% off. You can get a discount. It's a great deal. And please, if you haven't already, what's the other thing I didn't say? Subscribe. Did I say like button? I forget. Subscribe. All right. See you guys. Bye. Yeah, wash your hands. Wash your hands, everybody. Brush your teeth and wash your hands at the same time.